Aharon, hey, congratulations for South of Heaven.
Thank you, Gig. Thank you for having me.
Hey, so tell us where the original idea came from for a film like this.
Believe it or not, during my honeymoon, I got married at a very late age uh, of 37. My wife was 39 back then. And when you lose so much time and get married at such an old age in Israel, you try to compensate for like years of not being together. You want to have, everything that you could have with her during your 20s and early 30s. In a very short time. So we went on a really long honeymoon. It was like half a year of a honeymoon around the world. And that's all we did. We tried to compensate for years of not being together. And during that honeymoon, I came up with the idea of making a movie about a guy who lost 12 years of his best years with his wife or fiance. He could have given her like great 12 years, but he went into prison also because he loved her. And then when he goes out, he has only 1 year to compensate for everything he ever wanted to give to her. And it came to mind because I thought that once you try to compensate, disproportionate things happens, right? You try to do your best in a very short time, and sometimes it goes off completely. So the idea was like a big romance, bigger than life romance, and then I had the accident thing happen at the turning point to make it all dark, because I'm like that. I'm a romantic at soul, but I'm also very dark and very pessimistic. So even on my honeymoon, I always think about death. So it comes together. It's love and death, and that's how it came to be until that moment, until that turning point.
So you see this film as more of a love story than a thriller, right?
It's an interesting question. It's both, but the framing and the heart in the end of the movie, I think you feel that a heart beats in it strongly than anything else. Because even if you look at the thriller and the suspenseful elements, they're all in a serve of love. Like if you take the villain of the movie, he's willing to do everything for his son. He's willing to do all the mistakes for his son. Jimmy is willing to do everything to, make sure the love story doesn't end bad. Although it's gonna end bad anyway because she's dying from minute one. So yeah, for me it's like, what would happen if you take a love story to its max, like crazy, like the most brutal love story I could have thought of. When your best intentions creates only darkness.
Yeah,
but for me, yes, it's a love story.
I find this story to be a lot of bad luck for everybody. That's that's what I think how it happened.
It is. It's like maybe because I'm Jewish, and one of my favorite books in the Bible is the book of Job, which only like bad things happens to him and haunts him for the entire story. So I think that was the idea, like making a movie about a series of misfortunate events, bad luck that you cannot shake off. Because even when you go into their prior, even to their backstory, the way she cuts his hand when they do the blood oath, and he needs to go to the hospital. Even when he tries to, prove his love to her by working with her outlaw father, it's all the time he's making all the wrong choices in the name of love. And I think that was the movie I wanted to make. How much of a good thing can be a bad thing? How your blindness to give everything makes you not see the more obvious choice, the more simple and logical and even more humane result.
Absolutely. Now, could you tell us about the casting of Jason Sudeikis for in such a serious role? Because your film has a little bit of humor with it, not all because Jason is part of it, and there's also the interaction of Thaddeus, the child in the film.
Yeah, well, I love working with comedians in dramatic roles. I did it in Israel a couple of times, and I like to see it when it happens on the American screen. I love what Robin Williams did during his, more dramatic roles, because I always feel that comedian A has the best timing as actors. B, they have this incredible emotional depth that not a lot of times they get tapped into. And when I saw, Jason Sudeikis movies as a fan, and even when I saw the tapes while, creating Jimmy Ray, I always thought that there's something to Jason Sudeikis' performance that you just need to tap into. He has this beautiful puppy emotional eyes. When you see him, and I did it before I watched Ted Lasso. Ted Lasso, brought those eyes big times, right? But when I cast the movie, I didn't see Ted Lasso, and I saw the things that Ted Lasso got out of him, which is like there's a great honesty and earnest to his performance. There's something down to earth about Jason Sudeikis, and he has those big, great, lovable eyes that makes you want to, just hug him every time you see him on the screen. And I knew that Jimmy Ray is the kind of character that you need the audience to be with him throughout and through all the stuff he's going to be into, even the darker stuff. Because if you cast somebody that you cannot be sympathetic or empathetic to, you might lose him while he's doing the batshit crazy stuff over the two last thirds of the movie. So it was very important to me to find an actor that could give you that believability, and also the fact that you want to love him and be there for him no matter what he's doing on screen. The second thing about Jason Sudeikis, and that I saw only in one movie so far, was in Colossal, a great indie movie with him and Anne Hathaway. I saw something scary. I saw something scary in his eyes for the first time, and I saw a brooding personality that nobody, tapped into more than once. And I said, that will be great, that, watching Jason Sudeikis in a dramatic role, and then you could see even his bonkers side, like when he gets real dark, and he could, he delivers it. I saw it happen in Colossal, not as, violent and brutal as is in this film, but I said he has all those shades to his performance, and somebody needs to do it. And I guess I had great timing, because I cast him just before Ted Lasso happened.
Excellent. Well, let me wrap it up with one more thing. I love your climatic sequence, which you did the one-shot sequence with that. Could you talk about just a little bit on how you made that decision to do that?
Most action films ends with a shootout. Most action scenes shows you how your hero is killing people, and you're rooting for him as an audience, and you enjoy the violence. When I wrote South of Heaven, I wanted to make sure that the villain becomes almost the victim at the end of the movie. I wanted to change tables on, between the protagonist and the antagonist, because I do feel that the best way to write a villain is to have the hero as the villain in his movie. Like for me, in Die Hard, Hans Gruber is the victim, and John McClane is the hero. Is the villain. He ruins his plans to rob a perfect crime. So when I thought about shooting that scene, I said, I want to cut from our antagonist and make the whole scene look like a home invasion scene. So when Jimmy comes to do the shootout, you will not be able to root for him, because he is not being shot as the hero. It's almost being shot as a horror film, like a Brian De Palma homage, like something out of Blowout or Dressed to Kill. And that way, you will not be able to feel as you feel in every other John Wick kind of movie, where you just applaud the killing. It becomes something more of a horror film. And while shooting it the Brian De Palma way, I decided not to go all the time with our hero. Like, I'm not following his every step. I'm losing him, and then he comes back to frame, and sometimes I'm going with the henchman. So you will know this is not the kind of scene that promotes violence. This is the kind of scene that shows you, the negative side of those action movies. Like now this guy is killing people, and the villain needs to, shelter his kid in this very horrendous situation.
Well, Aaron, it's an excellent movie. Hey, thank you very much for talking to us about South of Heaven. Hopefully I get to do this again with you again.
Thank you so much, Gig. Thank you for having me.